All rise. We have a moment of silence. Prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come together today, we ask you for your guidance and wisdom so that we may begin this meeting in a positive manner and end the same way. We also ask you to help us to engage in meaningful discussion here today, allowing us to work together to grow Carbon County and the communities within it. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held May 2nd, 2024.
Motion approved. Second.
Mr. Honors?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes. Are there any guests here concerning county business? Hearing none. I do know we have with us today from the Oklahoma Notification Bureau, Ronnie Cooper and Chris Barrett. So, come up. I know you have a report here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good to see you again. Thank you for this time to give a report on tourism here in the Pocono Mountains, and we're of course focusing in a little bit more on carbon. So what I wanted to do was to take excerpts from our board report. So this would be a report that our board would see quarterly. And it does have some overall information, pardon me, and some things that are specific to Carbon County. And after the presentation, of course, we'll send this to you and you can make a part of the record or anything you'd like to do with it. Hey, this works. It's awesome. So first, overall, just brief on the financial position of the PMVB. Actually, last year for the hotel tax was fairly strong. We had projected that the tax would either level off or decline slightly after we saw some pretty significant growth over the last few years, especially since the pandemic. But we came in at net income 770,000 positive in the center block. And also you can see to the right, the first quarter hotel tax for 23 versus 22 and the comparative data. So in total, when we look at 23 versus 22, we were down less than 0.5%, which actually we were fairly excited about. Projecting this year, we think we'll be down a little bit to 23, but there are two factors that are slightly different from previous years, in that we do have about 300 more rooms at Great Wolf Lodge that were just added, along with 30 villas, which actually are doing fairly well. And another property close to Great Wolf is opening with 100 additional rooms. There's a property in Carbon that just opened downtown, of course, we all know about. So there are other properties that have opened since last year. So we have to see how the first quarter looks. January was not a good month with weather. So, we had all that rain. February, we had some rain as well. So the ski season wasn't as strong as what we had anticipated. But we did get some March numbers, which were fairly good. But Easter was in March this year versus April last year. So we'll have to see how that turns out. So our cash balance to date is over 6 million. The county funds, CDs in reserve, and PMVB operating are in the fund block, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but we are in a very strong cash position. So the tail of the tape is fairly straightforward. This is the tax garner from each individual county, and how it's grown since 2019 in green. And then, of course, all the way up to 2024 comparatively for each county. Carbon continues to be fairly strong in comparison to the other two. Carbon and Pike have done very, very well over the last few years. We've seen a really strong influx of short-term rentals in Pike and Carbon, which has really contributed to that growth. And this is just how it looks from 2017, where we're at 7.3 million versus 14.1 million. So the tax has effectively doubled. And what that really means is that we know that we're charged the guest is charged 3% for every hotel room that is occupied in the county. If you would take that 3% and divide it by the difference in the tax, or 7 million, over the period of time, in lodging revenue, hundreds and hundreds of millions of additional dollars have been generated. We calculated in the last 3 years that over 534 million in additional lodging revenue has been brought into the county. So that's good. And looking at the cash reserve, I just wanted to say a couple of words about this. We liquidated our fund that was very conservatively based on stock and put it all into CDs with a 5% guaranteed rate of return. There's really no need to be in the market whatsoever. So we have a CD ladder that we structured with Wayne Bank. We waited first until in 23 the corpus came back up, because the market had a nice run by the end of the year. When we came up to the corpus that we initially invested, along with the fees, we liquidated it and put it all in CDs, and now we're in a ladder plan with Wayne Bank that's actually done pretty well. So the numbers are right there, and I'll go over that a little bit more later. So in our statement of financial position, just a couple of things I want to outline. The cash is there, liabilities, so our balance sheet is very strong. And we'll leave you with all this information. But on the second page in revenue and support, I wanted to note that in the tourism promotion and destination marketing line with expenses, we're spending 13.2 million on direct hard marketing. That compares to 13 million last year. So we spent about 150,000 more. As you all know, the tax is not remitted to us until 3 months after it's collected. So we have to be very, very careful in how we spend, because we don't want to outrun our headlights. So sometimes that's how we accumulate larger balances, but we always like to be very careful so we don't overspend. But we're still spending 13.2 million in a combination of television, digital, it's hard marketing expenses. And just a couple other points here too, the visitor centers, one here, of course, which is great, in Jim Thorpe, and then we have 3 others located throughout the Pocono Mountains. But the Jim Thorpe Visitor Centers is totally by far the #1 attended visitor center that we have. So those are just what I wanted to point out on that document. This is how the tax generated lays out for the whole Pocono Mountains. It's fairly consistent year to year, which is kind of amazing. But Monroe County being 72, Pike and Carbon being at 11%, and the subsidiary numbers to the right. These numbers that you're seeing are net to us. They're actually slightly higher because we receive 80 to 85% of the tax in total after the 4% that's collected, and the other balances are remitted back to the counties. So this is actually what we spend. The tax collected is actually a lot higher. And it's kind of interesting point. When you look at the total of the tax collected, where regardless of how it's spent, we're actually generating more hotel tax than Pittsburgh right now. So and I'm not advocating for also comparison, but if we were at 5%, we would probably be collecting almost as much as Philadelphia. And Philadelphia has tens of thousands more rooms than we do. And I'll get to this in the end, but our rates for hotel room overnights that we're charging are much higher than any other region within Pennsylvania. So just as a marketing summary, I'll make this very, very quick. We just had a restaurant week. We had 40 participating restaurants. So we're surveying those folks and getting that information back to find out how it went. Initially, some of our folks are saying, or most are saying, that they really liked it. They thought it did really well. So we'll probably do another one in November when we have downtime again. 2 things here that we're doing on the Pocono Television Network. We've transferred everything to Amazon Web Services, and we're developing more over-the-top or television type apps through Vimeo that now will get us on many more streaming platforms than what we're already on. We're also adding more live cameras. We now have 35. So if you were to go on our website, there's a band at the top of our website you can click down to and take a look at our cams. We're adding more and more every year. I think by the end of the year, we should have about 40 cams located on that. We're also creating a channel of just our webcams. So along with PTN, you'll be able to also view a channel that just continuously shows all the views from across the Pocono Mountains. So we're trying to decide what we're going to do with that, but it's really, really kind of cool. So we're really, really excited about that one. Also, too, our webcams, this is kind of interesting. We had 18 million minutes of time consumed watching our webcams. So folks just watch like our waterfalls, our ski resorts, which are actually kind of cool. So that's why we want to add more, because we know people are definitely viewing, which is neat. So folks, our guests can view it before they come here, decide where they want to come. And the cameras at all our ski resorts have been upgraded pretty significantly. So the picture quality is very, very good. These are kind of things that we've been doing over the last couple of years. One of the bigger changes is that we are actually sharing more content with PVI in Philadelphia and some of our other stations that they're running that we're creating for the Pocono Television Network. We're also doing a lot of joint projects on tourism with WVIA, so we'll be announcing some of those in the next couple of weeks. And just with PTN, very, very quickly, we have a full podcast suite that we're repurposing content with on iHeartMedia and a couple of other platforms, which we're really kind of thrilled about. Also, too, to your right, this is where all PTN apps are available and podcasts are available. Again, because we're creating more apps to be adding them over time on a lot of different streaming services. And this kind of just tells you where you can pick those up. So we continue to build PTN as we go forward. Okay, I just talked about that. And this is, oh, darn it. So this talks about being on Amazon Web Services, but I also wanted to just show where PTN can be seen on mobile apps or on Apple and Android, iOS, Roku, Fire TV, Tizen, Xbox. So if anybody's an Xbox, you could download the Pocono Television app. Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, Android TV, and YouTube. Those are the largest ones that I just wanted to highlight. And the media partners I just talked about, one big change here is that we are now running on Philly 57, which is pretty amazing. Our Pocono Mountains Magazine program is running there every month. And sometimes it's running 4 to 5 times a month, which we're really, really excited about. Also, we're on some additional cable networks this year. And now just to give the overall view, PTN is now available in over 8 million households in 4 states. So Delaware, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. So I'm going to go past this just very quickly. Marketing dashboard, this is the one I kind of really wanted to get to show you how lodging is performing here in the Poconos. And now I have to like put my glasses like this so I can see it. But this actually aggregates our regular hotel performance and short-term rentals. And I talked a little bit about the fact that we're seeing an increase in short-term rentals, especially in the last 2 years. We have more and more properties being added as short-term rentals, which brings its own challenges in housing, as we all know. But looking at the bottom pane, short-term vacation rental performance, I want to direct your attention to the column that says ADR. So actually all the way through the 3rd, 2nd, and the 1st. ADR is average daily rate. So that's what on average is charged by all of our properties. That rate is increasing. So when you look at the 375.15 for short-term rentals are actually garnering more revenue than regular hotels at 214. And actually 214 is a very, very good number. 228 is a very, very good number too. Again, we outstrip the balance of the Pennsylvania with the rates that we charge for our overnights. And to the left of the ADR is occupancy, which is fairly explanatory, but we actually had a good March at 60.1%, and we're at about 56.1% for the year. And what we do is we roll all that up to the top number in occupancy and ADR on average. So we're hopeful that we'll continue to see at least a flat 24 as we go through the second, third, and fourth quarters. We certainly don't see anything on the horizon that's a danger that we would not be able to at least do about the same performance we did in 23. But one thing we do know is the guests are very not spending as much as what they did before. So what does that mean? It means they're much more price sensitive. They're looking for more midweek deals, which is fine because we put a program in place for that. But also when a guest is coming to the property, they are spending a lot less. They're spending less on food and beverage, less on retail, less on some other ancillary expenses when they come to the Poconos. So inflation is absolutely taking a bite. And we know that student loans have been turned back on, for instance. The inflationary pressures are still there. There is shrinking discretionary income, which is what we live on. So we are starting to see some price sensitivity from the guests. We do have hotel data. I'm just putting up this up here from every other region within the Commonwealth, which will be on this. I'll leave this for you. But if you look at it, you could just actually see how we compare to all the other regions of the Commonwealth. One thing, and short-term rentals, we can look at township level views of what short-term rentals look like. And again, I'll leave this all with you, but you can see Carbon County right there is at the bottom. So you can take a look by region. We're actually talking to somebody else that could get us more data than what you're seeing right here. So we're kind of anxious to see that. But if you look to the right, it gives comparison percentages in occupancy, and then occupancy ADR is tracked to the right and graphed. So the graph is following basically the pattern in all of this that it's followed in the last 2 years, which is good, because then hopefully we can expect at least flat performance, as I just mentioned. And this is just leisure and hospitality workforce that we track. It's only down about 1% to 2019. So hospitality and leisure employment is almost comparative to what it was. And you could see that is also graphed as well. TSA, we just keep this just to know how many people are flying in and out of local airports, because sometimes it does affect us. It doesn't affect us very much, but it affects us a little bit. So we keep track of it. This is one, though, that we absolutely keep track of. So a lot of times folks will say, okay, where are people coming from? What percentages of your market are visiting here? So 52 to 53% of our market is coming from New York. So that means if we have 53 and then 23 for Philadelphia, that's what I thought, 60. So then over 70% of the dollars coming into our market are outside dollars. So absolutely people are visiting us from outside markets and spending here very, very aggressively. So this is all data that we capture not only from our own research that we subscribe to, but from our membership. So you can also see, which is kind of interesting though, that Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, we also see some visitation there, but we're also trying to grow some other markets, Washington, New Haven. There'll be much more longer term projects, but the majority of our folks are coming from New York and Philadelphia, which we all know, but there it is graphically. And also, we also keep track of some credit card spending. The credit card spends up until March are there. You can see it's 36% lower than the previous year. So people are much more price sensitive. And what are they spending on? Food and beverage, retail, transportation, of course. But the first two are very, very important to us, especially food and beverage, which that really tells us is when people come here, they want to eat. There's no question. And at the bottom, spending by demographic as far as age and household income. That's very important to us because we always want to target, a certain specific age with a specific income level. So we're constantly checking these stats to make sure that we're in the right place. This is just some of our website data. As far as devices, people are absolutely now coming into the market with a mobile device and want to actually select their activities from their mobile device. So it's very important to have a website that's mobile optimized to do a number of different things. So when a guest comes here, they can select activities. But it's also an opportunity for us to continue to keep the guest in the loop on what's happening on a real-time basis. but our website still is continuing to do extremely well. And also too, our pages per session are up, our bounce rate is down, which is good. So that means when people are coming to our site, they're staying here and they want to consume the information and they're on it for at least 2.5 minutes, which is good. This is just some of our national park information, which we watch very, very critically. We also watch some of the state park attendance as well, they're up. So we would expect that if there's a recession or something close to it, or people are price sensitive, they visit national and state parks and they continue to save dollars, but they still come to the destination. This is just like a roll of the dice. And I just want to really look at travel spending and travel pricing indexes. I mean, who knows really what's going to happen, over the next year, but again, all the indicators are that, there isn't any huge danger to the economy. So even though our growth will not be as great as it was in the last 3 years, we won't see any significant dips. So that's kind of really what we're looking for. And the domestic travel forecasting says exactly the same thing. Now, who knows what's going to happen to 2026, but we're projecting growth, but very flat growth for the industry. That's really it. This is just kind of look at what we've done in the first quarter. We continue to just be very aggressive with digital and of course PTN and everything else to talk about, what's happening here in the Pocono Mountains. So now, Maura, I'm gonna turn it over to you, I think. No, I'll do that. You want to do committees or do you want to do?
Yeah, we can just jump right to, there you go.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So just a little bit of information on the community involvement that we're in. I oversee membership and community relations. So boots on the ground here, we are active with the Lansford train station project. That's important to us to support. Also met with Andy Muller and the leadership of the Reading and Northern Railroad. That's important that we are supporting his efforts by marketing. So we're working very closely with the team on the new location and also in Jim Thorpe. Also supporting our downtowns. In addition to Jim Thorpe, we're highlighting Lansford, Palmerton, Lehighton as well. So we're working closely with those areas. We know how busy it gets here, especially in the fall. So we're excited, and Weisport too. Any kind of events that are happening, we're going to make sure we're promoting. We work very closely with the borough and the commissioners, as you guys know, in preparation for fall. So we've been meeting since the beginning of the year so that we're supporting the efforts because we know the visitors are coming. So it's important to us that, we're helping with that experience. So we're in close contacts there. Also supporting the Carbon Chamber and economic development with marketing, strategic planning, board involvement. Again, supporting the comprehensive plan, greenway trails, and the open space as well. We just awarded over $900,000 and 104 projects. This is awesome. This is our community impact grant, and we're just finishing our second round, and we've definitely been able to give some dollars in Carbon County with a lot of really cool projects as well. Anti-litter, we know we want to keep the Poconos beautiful, so we're going to continue to do that effort with Pick Up the Poconos. We had a great event in April. I think we had over 500 volunteers on that day. Also, we want to make sure our highways are clean. So you'll see the different routes that we're working with as well. Just also did the hotel tax disbursement fund. That's over $98,000. And there's a lot of our nonprofits in Carbon County that we supported. And then again, just really here to support the efforts of, all of our folks in the area. All right, membership very quickly. Overall, we have 564 members. We have 31 new members to date. We have a retention rate of 93%. That's important to us. And then just that breakdown for Carbon County, out of that 564, we have 113 members. Some of our events coming up, Tourism Day Summit, that's May 22nd. That's a great event to come to. It really serves our membership with a lot of training. And then also we have a golf tournament where that really goes towards our hospitality fund to help with scholarships. And then our fall marketing meeting coming up, and of course, our annual dinner. So this is more information. I think I had sent that out to the commissioners as well, so you guys have that. And then just to wrap up, we do have this new position that has been in place with education relations. It's really important that we're connecting our youth and our teachers, just to know that there's great jobs in tourism. So again, you'll see some of the things that we have happening there. And that's it for me.
Thank you.
I think, another question, or the comments of, hotel tax collection falls on our county treasurer. And they do get a 2% fee they can keep for, the operations, and the treasurer is, charged with the responsibility of tracking the Airbnbs. And, it's hard to believe there are people out there that might be dishonest and not reporting to be Airbnbs. And we need to know if there's people operating those Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts or short-term rentals. You need to notify our county treasurer so he can send a letter and telling you, reminding the people of the laws and what they're required to do when operating a facility such as this. I know the municipalities are also clamping down, and so just that point in time, just to let you know that it all comes here to the county, and then the fees are submitted to the Pocono Application Bureau.
Thank you.
Get the money up there, where revenues.
Can we answer any questions, Mr. Chairman, or any of the commissioners?
Do you know, the allocation by county, Carbon County, where do you find you're spending the vast majority of that?
Where or how? Is it-
How? I would say how,
Sure.
yes.
So we spend about 4 to 5 million in television direct in New York, Philadelphia, this market, Harrisburg, Lebanon, Lancaster, York, Washington, Baltimore. New York is the #1 media market in the country, and Philly's #4. So when you're buying television, it doesn't take that much so for instance, if you're buying a 30-second spot in New York on news where, right, most people are watching, that spot can be $10,000 to $15,000. Here in this market on NEP, it could be 500, but there's millions and millions of more people watching, and that's kind of the game of that. Although linear's watching, as we all know, people are cutting the cord, so it's kind of getting
Right.
decreasing, but people are now streaming more. So that's why we're concentrating a lot on PTN and getting on streaming networks, because people want to see that. One thing we found out, and I'll make this quick with Roku, is that, for instance, if somebody gets onto Roku and starts to watch PTN, they'll watch it for 2.5 hours. So it's a good way for us to tell stories, but the majority of it's in television, then also in SEO, search engine optimization with Google. We spend all that direct. Digital, outdoor. We have, for instance, 26 digital boards located all throughout the Poconos and static boards. So of that 13 million, between 8 to 10 million is spent on physical hard advertising. And one thing we do is we're an in-house agency, so we don't pay anybody else to place anything. So let's say if we had an agency that was placing television, if $1 million was placed and we had an agency, they would charge us $150,000 to place that 1 million. We do it ourselves. So we place the 1 million direct. So instead of 850,000 being placed, we place 1 million. And we do it way more efficiently. So sometimes when folks come to us and they want us to help with marketing, we can do everything direct. So for instance, placing digital ads, we design them ourselves and we place them ourselves. And the boards that we rent, the outdoor advertising boards, we design everything. So we don't pay anybody to do anything, and we design it ourselves, and we have more control over it. So if something's happening right away, we can get boards out there fairly quickly. Like we were talking about doing some things for the guests before they come to the Pocono Mountains. Like for instance, we have 500,000 people opted into our Facebook feed. And on any given day, the engagement rate is about 30 to 40%. So if we post something on there, it's most likely that a lot of folks in that feed are going to see it. They might not react to it, but at least they see it. So we have a lot of tools we can use that we developed ourselves, and we don't really use agencies to do anything. and we control them all ourselves.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mike's fine, Sarah's fine. Anything else? Thank you, Larry.
I do have one question for you. Okay, for the grants that are coming through. And I know, I mean, like Monroe County is huge. They got Kalahari that brings millions of people in, maybe in a year. I don't know what it brings in. But with Carbon County, we got a lot of small businesses. And I mean, I know you're going by percentage, but wouldn't it be more, how could I say it? For the county to get a little bit more money to get out to the businesses, you know what I mean? Because we have a lot of smaller ones. We have a lot of events that I see that aren't even really advertised, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, if there's something in Lansford or Wine Sport and things like that, how can we help them people out? You know, we're looking at that 98,000. Like, how do we give it to everybody on just $98,000? You know what I mean?
No, that's a good question. And one of the things we designed is an events part of our website that's free. So we buy television and outdoor to actually make people aware that in this market and others. That's all free. Anybody can upload anything that they want to that. So people are sending us things all the time. We really encourage them to do that. And we'll actually have our people, because sometimes it can be a little bit, well, what do I do here? So one of our people will walk them through it. We want that stuff on there because when people come on our website, they want to see that. They love the whiteboard one. People love that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it helps us and it helps the
And that's what I said, you see all these little events that.
People love
are
that.
Small that you don't really, they could be bringing in 500 people on a Friday night or something. And it's like,
Any information.
Yeah.
yeah, and I did, like, I went on the website last night. And is there a faster way to get to the guidelines and whatever they need to fill out for the you know what I mean, the application to it? I think it had it on there, wasn't it? The contact, was it, the chamber or something, or what was it?
Well, ours, well, we have two. The community grant is membership at Poconos or myself. As well, I mean, I could help with all of that locally, and then I work with the chamber on the tax disbursement. So, you know, I'm definitely the local connection if there's any questions or anybody needs help with either of those.
But the thing too is they don't necessarily have to be a member. Like, we're happy to help anybody. If they would actually come to us and say, we need help with this marketing piece or whatever. And sometimes people just want to run the event. They don't want to have to deal with the marketing. That's where we could really help. Because we have the ability to be able to do that, which we're happy to do.
And that's what I think some of the questions are. Do you have to be a member? You know, I mean, that's probably maybe a good idea to be a member, but.
Yeah, I don't really, but I mean, honestly, if it's gonna help the community, you know, maybe someday they will be, which is fine, but we usually try to help first. And, you know, then go from there, but we'll help anybody that asks us.
Yeah, because I mean, you're even just on about the white sport event, you can't even get near that place sometimes, and now there's a new, I mean, what was it, the Redneck Festival before, now it changed. And it's like now people have to get used to what the name of the new, you know, what the new event is gonna be.
And that's how we can help, and I think we're really desirous of building Lansford and Lehighton. Because they're just such great, like I'm a big number 9 line fan, you know, because my grandfather was a miner. So in Hazelton, so I mean, I think that's a huge part of our heritage that we need to really preserve. And I think if we continue to keep building that and people visit us here, you know, Carbon's like such a jewel. There's other counties in the state that would love to be Carbon. I mean, like, you guys probably know that. Thank God you're here, though.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
for
Thank
your
you,
time.
gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
The next item is the report of executive session.
There was one executive session held Tuesday, May 7th at 1:30 PM, and it was to discuss personnel.
Department reports, the budget transfer,
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Supplemental appropriations,
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Knutson?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Expenditures, approval of payroll check numbers 75841 through 75855, and direct deposit check numbers for 6064284 through 6064722 for the payroll paid to the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $682,034.15. This is the payroll dated May 3rd, 2023.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 2439496 through 243,674 for expenditures to the general fund carrying account totaling $1,273,620.49.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The treasurer's report.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The personnel report for county departments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The acknowledgements for courts and row officers.
Motion acknowledged.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Correspondence is listed, copies will be made and made available to the press upon request. Adult probation, intermediate punishment for ratification. Submission of a grant application for funding from the Pennsylvania Institution of Crime and Delinquency for the Carter County's Intermediate Punishment Program. The grant will fund the following projects: partial salary of one adult probation officer, electronic monitoring equipment, supplies and treatment services. The period is July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, in the amount of $89,998.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
The ARC project grant for ratification. Amendment number 1 to the Appalachian Regional Commission project grant for broadband feasibility study, extending the grant period to September 30th, 2024, in order to complete the final closeout documents.
Motion to amend.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Communications 911 for approval and execution, the renewal of the maintenance support agreement with CK Alarm Systems of Mountain Top, Pennsylvania, to provide 24/7 hardware support on the digital receiver and emergency software support through Micro P Solutions on the 911 alarm monitoring system for 1 year, June 1st, 2024 through May 31, 2025. Hardware, $140 per month, software, $149 per month. Total cost of $3,468 per year. This is an increase of $180 per year.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Correctional facility for approval and execution. An agreement with Carbon Monroe Pipe Drug and Alcohol Commission to provide case management services at the correctional facility and the Drug and Alcohol Office to divert individuals into the needed treatment using the Letty model and working with attorneys of incarcerated individuals and re-entry planning to reduce recidivism and correctional facility. The term is for 1 year from the date of execution and will renew for successive terms of 1 year until termination. Cost is not to exceed $54,630 using opioid settlement dollars and invoiced each month by the actual percentage of persons with opioid use disorder and co-occurring substance abuse disorder mental health conditions seen in that month.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sefranco?
Yes.
Storage Solutions for ratification. Acceptance of a proposal for Storage Solutions by Snyder's LLC of Hermansville, Pennsylvania, for a storage shed to store personal protective equipment and supplies at the Carbon County Correctional Facility at a total cost of $17,250, which would be funded by the Correctional Facilities COVID Relief Grant. A 20% deposit is required due to a special order item. This is the lowest acceptable quote of two received. One quote was received by telephone.
Motion to ratify.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
ESG grant 2023 for approval and execution, subcontract agreements for the 2023 Emergency Solutions Grant Program. BCED contract 88-342 for the period of January 26, 2024 through July 26, 2025 with the Carbon County Action Committee for Human Services, $30,000 for homelessness prevention and family promise Carbon County, $30,000 for emergency shelter.
Motion will approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Planning and Development for approval and execution. Change order number 1 to the contract with Northeast Industrial Services Corporation of Shamokin, Pennsylvania for the Lehighton Borough clearance and demolition, 135, 139 North First Street, fiscal year 2020, 21 and 22. Due to contract pricing increasing $63,580 for a new contract price of $250,015.
Motion will approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Union agreement for approval and execution, collective bargaining agreement between the county on its behalf and on the behalf of the Court of Common Pleas of Carbon County and the AFSCME District Council 87, excuse me, AFL-CIO, Local 2483, representing the court-appointed professional employees for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. This agreement incorporates the arbitration award acknowledged by the board on January 11, 2024, agenda item number 24-006.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The solicitor's report?
Before we move on, under the action committee, do we have an appointment for the action committee that we need to amend?
They don't have it.
No, it's in the thing, but it's not on there, so if you want to do amend the agenda.
I know you had brought that up. too.
I did bring it up.
Yeah.
Ah, see? We do pay attention.
Need a motion to amend agenda to new equipment.
Does it? Yes, I thought it did.
I'll second.
You're making a motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
To include a request for the appointment of Connie Brown to the Carbon County Action Committee for Human Services, representing the public elected official seat, replacing Brent, the former chairperson of Lower Tomlinson Township, Mr. Brent Green.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Solicitor's report?
Now, I'll take it. Okay. For the Agency on Aging, seeking a motion for approval and execution of the charitable organization registration statement form BCO 10 to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Bureau of Charitable Organizations for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, which is required for the Carbon County Area Agency on Aging due to receiving charitable contributions, and the annual fee is $100.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Next, for the Emergency Operations and Training Center, seeking a motion for approval and execution of a service agreement with Keystone Fire and Security of Allentown, Pennsylvania for inspection and maintenance services to the audio, visual, and sound system and to the video surveillance system at the Emergency Operations and Training Center at an annual cost of $3,560. The term of the agreement is June 1st, 2024 to June 7th, 2024. And this is under CoStar's contract 034-E23-191.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
And lastly, for Josiah White Park, seeking a motion for approval and execution of the request for the use of the gazebo in the Josiah White Park by God's True Vine International Church of Creskyville, Pennsylvania, for the dates and times listed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Nothing further for the solicitor's report.
Any further business? Commissioners reports, Mr. Honor?
None at this time.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, I just want to announce that it's getting close for registration for the elected officials and other government officials day for the to register for the emergency operation education, I would call it, an orientation, what we have there. It's on Saturday, June 1st from 9 a.m. till noon to showcase what we have there. Give the elected officials, in particular, the supervisors, the council members, mayors, borough manager, township managers, et cetera, and other elected officials, the opportunity to come to the training center and get hands-on experience with maybe pulling a hose line, operating in a hose nozzle, climbing a ladder. They will get to witness, we'll do a short presentation, maybe 15-20 minutes. We'll break it down to groups, into groups, depending how many people we have, and do a live or scenarios in the police training building where the police and EMS work together in an active shooting scenario. And you'll be able to watch the scenario from the catwalk, watch the active shooter as the police come in, then the EMS come in, and they'll extract the victims. And then we'll move outside where the EMS will triage the victims of the shooting incident and put the situation under control. They also do an act of felony pullover, pull a car over, they'll come in, light the siren, pull a car over and go through how they interact with the police and the perpetrators. Then the fire, they'll have some hands-on training. And this year, like I said, the climbing ladder going through the burn building. This year, we will have a live fire burn in one of the burn rooms or two of the burn rooms possibly. We have 4 burn rooms in the 4-story tower. We have a class going on at the same time where you are coordinating the burns so that our elected officials will be able to witness what happens and as the firefighters pull the hose lines, go into the burning rooms, we will get them as close as we possibly can without anyone getting hurt. We'll keep them out of the way of hose streams and to give them some really some experience as to what really occurs in a fire building or how hot it gets and how much smoke there is and the difficulty in pulling a hose line up the stairwells, etc. So we do have openings yet. Contact myself or emergency management. I know we have interested parties from out of the county. The Wayne County Commissioners are looking at building a facility. They are interested in attending, as well as some officials from Northampton County. And I told those people that it's Carbon County residents first. We can accommodate up to 30 people, breaking it down into 4 groups. Little bit of a coordination effort with the live burning and everything and doing 4 different sessions in a 3-hour period, but we'll do what we can to ensure that everybody gets some real experience to showcase the importance of the facility and the training that occurs in this facility by all the emergency responders and what's available to the municipality. So if you're interested, get a hold of me or call emergency management and we'll get you registered. We have about 15 participants right now and some waiting out of county. And the people that attended last year, we had 16 attendees. It was all positive, especially for their newer elected officials. They had no idea what firefighters or the police really do. and the experience or the training that they need and the training we have available here in the county to gain the support of the emergency services, because you saw what happened. Well, the police were always paid, but the EMS, how that has transitioned from volunteers to paid over the years because of call volumes and the amount of training required. Fortunately, we have a lot of pretty good amount of volunteers in the county yet, but not all departments have that. You'll see more and more mutual aids going into other communities, automatic mutual aids, depending on the type of calls. You might have 2, 3, or 4 departments responding to an incident because of lack of manpower, especially during the day. So this to educate the elected officials in particular about their responsibilities. Unfortunately, the law does not say to what level you are responsible, but you are responsible for public safety in your municipality, whether it's an agreement with an ambulance corps or a neighboring fire department, you are responsible. Unfortunately, the law does not determine that level of ability to combat. So, please, if you're an elected official, please come out, and what we'll do maybe in the future, if this is successful again, maybe we'll do a public. We did have some discussion on that, and having a public display as well as junior firefighter programs to spark an interest in our volunteers. So, any questions, give me a call. I do have flyers if anybody's available for one. Okay.
Mr. Sifaka?
I would just, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners here and our county administrator, we have 6 employees that have recently graduated from the NACO High Performance Academy. And a little background on that's a 12-week, rather extensive program. It deals with fundamentals and gives you results driven leadership skills. And I'd like to single out those 6 individuals that we're very proud that they have graduated and completed that 12-week course. And they are Cecilia Tulsi, Derek George, Pamela Boshby, Renee Roberts, Samantha Chillarella, and Tyra Boney. So on behalf of the board and our county administrator, Ellie, we thank you and congratulations to all of them. Other than that, I have nothing further. Anything further? Meeting adjourned. Election board. Made it through another election. It's a good sign.
Yes, yes, and it was very good, knock on wood, but we had wonderful helpers and employees that helped, and they did their job well. So,
Very good.
So, we need a motion to approve minutes from the election board meeting held on April 11th, 2024.
Second?
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Are there any guests here concerning election board business?
I'm not a guest, but I'd like to make a comment. I know I told Jen I was gonna have a bunch of questions for her, and she's on work. But I just want to say, the election, went 100%, I think, on what you could expect out of a great, department. And, going forward to the election in fall, I'm fully confident that you and your staff can handle this. I mean, there was no hitches. In fact, I think these were done earlier this year than before, and I think you didn't have quite as many people either. But I just have to commend you and the entire staff for that, just as a person in the public also. I think you took a lot of the heat off of the election department, Carbon County.
Thank you,
No,
I
thank you.
appreciate that.
I would echo the same. I think you did a fine job. You spent the first time down there on the other side of the table, and so it was a very well-oiled machine. It's done very well. So everyone seemed to work together, and there was a community who did tasks.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you. We wish you well in November. I just wish we could get a higher voter turnout here in Carbon County. We can't stay in the 20s. We got to get that number up.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to get your voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, we need a motion to ratify the certification of the April 23rd, 2024 presidential primary election.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Election board business, I do not have any, except I'm letting you guys know that it will be certified tomorrow. So the official results will be up on the website tomorrow afternoon. Their business?
Further business? Okay.
Don't worry, Gail, I'm gonna put you on the spot one day.
When did that begin?
The,
The 24-203, with the lead, that's, levy model.
Oh,
Data verification.
yeah,
yes, I think it's, what's the date was,
I think it is.
It could be today if turning alcohol.
today or tomorrow?
It's a question of the data verification. So it will be today.
Today?
And exactly how will this work using the levy model in the person?
Well, I think we've been trying to do it, and now we're gonna have a person that I think understands a little bit more. I think it's a lot working with the courts. But I think you'd have to ask Janie more, maybe even, I'll tell you what, maybe even like the warden. I think they were very instrumental in trying to get that in the prison. And it's, it works with different things, this recidivism that everybody's talking about. Hopefully it's gonna, and they've sort of been doing this for a while. It's just, we talked to doing this for 2-3 years already. And it's just that we're just trying to get a little bit more advanced to reach out to, other people. Because I think it has a lot to do with sometimes placing them at jobs or, it's all, but I said, probably the deputy warden would probably be the one to talk to up there about it.
It's a diversion program to get them into proper treatment.
Yeah, and we're,
Bottom line, people that may need mental health counseling or placement in a proper place, same with drug and alcohol, is to get them into the proper facilities.
And I see that you guys are using some of the opioid settlement money with that. So that can go for both the mental health part and the drug and alcohol part of it, or just
no, not really. It has to just be dealing with the opiate part.
just the opiate part of that?
And there are different areas throughout the state that are using it a different way. We're trying to keep on the level of that it has to be opiate use. Like I said, we were to the event on now doing that. And I don't know, I think we're doing it the official right way, and some are like making their own version of it, which maybe will wind up coming to that anyway, because my question always was, opiates is not gonna be the drug of choice in the next 10 years. What will be, so how is this gonna adapt to that? If in 10 years there's something else and alcoholism is on the rocks, so are we gonna be able to use it for that 100% in 10 years, So I think actually the settlement might have to be renegotiated or, in the next coming years, because like they keep telling us, alcoholism has jumped. Because, and I said, I was one of them that, it's nice to walk into a gas station and get beer. But to me, if you're an alcoholic and we get you a job and you walk into the gas station to pay your gas bill, and the first thing you see, you walk in, is a 6-pack of beer. I don't think that's helping the situation. I think they should have just left it with but that's my opinion, they should have left it with the beer distributors. And, I think it puts it out there too much for them. So, and like I said, it's great for tourism when somebody comes in and they want to get a case of beer when they get their gas to take back to their motel room, but it's not helping their addiction problem throughout the county. But again, that's my opinion.
And with regard to the Megan Borough demolition project, you know what that $63,000 increase was for?
I think that was because of the stability of the adjoining building, and that's what delayed the project. But I would contact the borough manager on that to be certain. We had a stoppage there for a while, and they ran into issues with the stability of the building that this was attached to, so they're working on that. They're getting there now and resumed, guess they had to do a contract or have it engineered to figure out what they have to do to make sure that building was stable and not damage it as they tore the other facility down.
Okay. And then in regards to the AFSCME contract, what changes are there on the terms?
Okay. There is a change in the classifications for the starting rates. That was the first big thing. Now it creates years of service for the people who are already there. Okay. Then in 2020, there was no increase except for the change in the rates for 2023. 2024 is 3%, 2025 is 2.5%, and 2026 is 3%.
Okay.
There are some senior employees who were red circled and given a different stipend because of their seniority. One big change is now the juvenile probation office will be working or has been working 37.5 hours. They were initially 35 hours a week. And other than that, basically, it was an arbitration award, and it mostly took every offer that the county had made.
Thank you. How many employees are under that contract?
I'm not gonna guess.
23, 25.
25.
I don't,
Because that-
yeah, I don't.
Adult probation, juvenile probation, and domestic relations,
Okay,
those three departments.
thank you. And the last thing I have is Commissioner Franco, can I have, after the meeting, can I have a copy of the names for those 6, so I have the spelling correct?
You may have them right now. I'll get it to you after. the
Okay, thank you.
Here,
That's all I have then.
Back, TV 13.
She touched on this a little bit, but just to reiterate, we know the demolition of the building on First Street was halted because of the concern of the structural damage to the adjoining building. So what is the current status of the demolition project right now?
Well, I think you'd have to ask them, but that's what it was, and that's why they came back for more money. And I know Wayne always like, I'm always on these change orders that I don't like change orders. But this falls into that one unseen change orders. When you start ripping something apart like that, you don't know what's on the other side of that wall. And that's what the case is here. I mean, just guessing at it, they're shoring the wall up and make sure that the structures on both sides are suitable for the tenants that are there right now. I mean, we don't want to tear something down and then the wall falls over. And that's basically what it is. And probably if you talk to the borough manager, that's the same comment he's probably going to give you.
Last thing I had is there any updates following the situation with Tent City and the homelessness?
I guess I would tell you that Tent City, there is, we're constantly moving forward on that. I can tell you that the number of homeless that have been in Tent City has obviously decreased from the high down to 33. I would tell you this, that there has been a dumpster supplied down there. And those that are there are currently starting to clean up Tent City. And that dumpster has been supplied by the county, so that they can begin clearing what they have and what they wish to keep. so that as they move out, the place is back to where it should be. And we're hoping that can be accomplished with those that are still there. And then, as they move on, they'll be able to get rid of what's there and properly dispose of it.
And for those who were moved out of Tent City, are they currently being sheltered anywhere?
There's one for sure that is gone to a shelter, Family Promise in particular, and they are working with that person and the different programs they have. So yeah, there is at least one that is in that program. There have been some that have moved in with other people. Unfortunately, there are some that have moved to other areas.
The point I would like to make too, because I do want to make this point is, because I know how rumors travel and I'm sure it's out there. Yes, there is a dumpster there and that dumpster is being used in that area to clean up, those that are cleaning up and disposing of what was there. I would advise residents, don't think you're gonna go down there and dump your garbage in there because it is being monitored. So, like I had said from the beginning, not to cause any harm or any embarrassment to anyone, we're not like publicizing everything that's going on there, but I do have a concern. I do know you need to know and be as transparent as we are here with this, which we are. But I get concerned when I say that because everyone that has 5 tires in their garage tonight better not appear in the dumpster tomorrow. And I know how that likes to happen, so it is being monitored on a situation so that doesn't happen. So I just warned the residents of that, and obviously, you know, where we're at.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Thank you all.